Okay, so hey guys, it's Quinston, and today we're going to learn how to make a JDBC console for JDBC and connect it to MySQL and run it. So let me just run the program one time and like show you what we're going to do. So let's run it. And yeah, it's right over here. So connection established. And right now to showcase, show databases. And yeah, see, that is how it works. Basically, you can do whatever you want. So if I say use database, use tests, suppose I use tests and I say select show tables, and it will show me whatever the tables are in this, and right now you can see that it's empty. So yeah, this is what we're gonna make in this tutorial, and yeah, let's get started with it. Okay, so the first thing which we're gonna do is here we import the Java SQL star asterisk. Basically it's going to import whatever things we need for doing this tutorial, like the connection object class and the statement from that class and the results set and whatever other housekeeping stuff, basically whatever in order to complete this tutorial. So the first thing we need is a static connection. So connection is basically the object which is going to connect with the database in order to retrieve information and to put information in there. So the next we need a scanner. The scanner is basically going to be an object with which we are going to take input from the user. The static statement is going to be basically an object with which we are going to execute the queries which we are going to have, or we're going to type in the console. The result set is basically going to be the set or the information which is retrieved from the database after we issue a select or show statement. And then the result set metadata is basically going to be data about the result set, basically to print the names of the columns. So as you can see that when we get the result set, we don't actually get the information about the names of the columns, and while printing information we explicitly need those names, and so we can use result set and metadata in order to retrieve those names from the result set. That's going to be pretty awesome. So let's start. The first is scan new scanner system.in. So obviously you can see it's heavily commented. This is basically a scanner object, and we're going to take input from the keyboard. This is standard input. This is the class. From the system class we are calling standard input, which is the keyboard. So standard input is the keyboard. And then we're gonna execute a try catch block, basically because whenever you have you want to get a connection from the MySQL database or SQL database or whichever database you're using, you need to put it in a try catch block so that if there is any error it won't actually crash your entire system. So yeah, let's put it in a try catch block, and we say the connection which we mentioned here. It's I just want to mention this, it's static because void main functions are basically static. So when you want to access a static variable outside the class, outside the function main, you need to define it as a static or declare it as a static variable. So yeah, so let us see what happens over here. So connection, the GetConnection. Now you might be wondering what GetConnection is, and I will tell you that GetConnection is a class which is user defined. I defined this class GetConnection, and in it I said this function which is gonna get our connection. So where is this GetConnection class? And you can see that it's comment over here, function at the bottom of the file. So let's go to the bottom of the file, and here, so this is the class GetConnection, and this function here which is called GetConnection again is a static function, and it returns a connection. So it's a static function, it returns a connection, and it's public, so I can access it from wherever I want. So in this class there are a few things which I want to mention. The connection con, which is going to be returned, this connection con is going to be returned, as you can see, from this function to the place where it is called from. Here we have the string username, the string password, and the string connection. So in this function I've defined those. So username db user, password db password. You can put whatever password and username your own SQL statement or your own SQL database has. A connection over here, basically JDBC, which is our the library which we use but with Java in order to connect with the database. MySQL is the type of the database we're going to use. Localhost is the website or the IP address where I'm going to link it to, where the database is hosted. Basically I'm hosting it on my own computer right now, so I'm going to loop around to my own computer with the localhost keyword or word. And here you can if you are entitled to do so, you can put your database name over here. Suppose your database's name is database, and then you can put your database name over here. But I want to make a console, so I'm going to access the entire MySQL server instead of just one particular database, so that I can switch between them. Here we have the try catch block. Again, I said that when you always request for a connection to the database, you always need to have a try catch block. Here we coerce the driver on the Java application. What is coerce? Which we are forcing the Java application to believe that this JDBC driver is the one it should use in order to connect to the database. Now, where is this stored? I will show you where it is stored. It's stored right over here. See, yeah, this is the MySQL connector which I linked in the description. There is a link to where you can download that, and this is where and this line over here says that explicitly says that we're going to use this connector in order to connect to the database. And then you have this con.drivermanager.getConnection. Now this is a predefined class which is inside Java, and you cannot define it because you can define it if you know how to code it, but right now we have this already for us, so why do we need to do it again? So drivermanager.getConnection, this is also a function of this class, and in this we pass in a few parameters. That is basically, these are called arguments, and parameters are a different thing. So parameters and arguments are different, so let's not confuse that. So these are arguments. Here we have connection JDBC MySQL. This is what we're going to pass in here because we need to link. This is important because this tells the Java JDBC where the database is stored. And here we have database is hosted. So here we have the username which you will have in order to connect to your database. And here is the password which you will have obviously along with your username, so that nobody else can access your stuff. And then once this connection is received into and this whole function returns the connection, it is stored in con, and basically return the found connection to the function which called it. So we will return this con to the function which called it. So which function called it, we'll get to that later. Let's just see what the catch expressions are. So if this whole thing fails, it will print the stack trace, and if class not found exception, this class not found exception is basically for this line over here, and not for any of this, but this line over here is explicitly related to the class not found exception. So yeah, just wanted to show that. And if this fails entirely, you still have something to return, so it will return null. Okay, it will be as if this never existed. So right now, if this line is successful and con now holds the connection to the database, we return con. So where do we call the con thing? Con object, we return it over here. Yeah, GetConnection or GetConnection. So as I said, GetConnection is a user-defined class, and this is a function of this user-defined class, and so on and so forth. Okay, so once this connection is established, and we know that it is established because we already did everything down at the bottom of the file, we know that system.out.println will print these things, that connection is established, and now we can start communicating with the database, inserting information, getting information, and so on and so forth. So now we create the statement object which will help us execute queries. So how do we do that? We go statement equal to connection dot create statement. So this will return a statement object which will be helping us to execute queries. And if this whole thing it fails, then you will print out check your connection again. Very classy. So next what we're going to do is we have this while loop over here. Okay, this while loop is going to execute infinitely, and what it will do is it will call this function infinite. Now you might be thinking, why are we doing this? So here it's written transfers the control to the function execute query. Now where is this function? It's right here. So what did this function do? So when I ran the program, as you can see, the first time was connection established, which means that the connection is successfully established.